Good evening. Welcome to the Michael Muse Show, the author Rise and Burn, and author Rise and Burn. And you know what? When it comes to fear, we show you how to kick fear through the door because overcoming your fear is not an option here. Because we truly know if you could overcome your fears, you could conquer life. And whatever you dream of, whatever you conceive, whatever you believe of, you can do it. And you know, we have a great show tonight. In life, it's one thing we all have to deal with. We all have to deal with obstacles. We all have to deal with that in life, in relationships. We have to deal with that in business. And most time, most people hear it in sales. And that's one of the first things they sell is how to have a mindset to get into your customer's mind and to get them to see your viewpoint and have to walk them through wherever they're going through to see that whatever product, whatever service, or even your way of thinking needs to make some changes. And you know what? I got an extraordinary, dynamic, fundamentally based, talented Joe Cervantes. How you doing tonight, Joe?
Hey, all right. Good to hear you, Michael. Excellent intro.
Well, Joe, definitely, man. Everyone's want to let you know, Joe is not just a coach. He's a coach for coaches, and he has an advanced coaching program. So if you're getting coach, he's the guy who coaches the coaches. So that tells you right there. He's got the fundamentals down pat. He's got the motivation down pat, and he has the keys to help a person go from zero to hero. So Joe, it's good seeing you again, man. And then we definitely want to jump into this, man, because we come to objections, overcoming objections. People a lot of times have a misconception of it, Joe. And I just want to just jump right into it and give you the floor, just kind of break down what objections are. And let's take it from there.
Well, honestly, you think of objections, and a lot of people just think of them as just one small thing. You know, some of the objections are like, I don't have time, or does this really work? Or I have to think about it, maybe a stall, right? But all of these underlying are basically fears that the person has. Fears of the unknown, many times. And sometimes they don't know exactly why they're saying no. And you have to get into the underlying area of why they're saying no. Too many times people go into thinking, I have to think about it. Just if you use that as an example and an objection, what do you need to think about? What's the real objection? What's behind these words? What's on their mind? Is there something in particular that concerns you, or things that you could respond to that? But basically, they're not understanding what you're offering, or they're unsure if it's beneficial for them. There's a point. It's beneficial for them. You probably see that all the time.
Absolutely. Let's start with that first one, Joe. Mm-hmm. And showing something is beneficial for them, Joe. What's the mindset a person needs to have to convince a person, or to at least open up their eyes to see that what you're offering is nothing else? They need to look at it for them. They need to see it through a different set of eyes.
That's right.
So what are some things you do to help a person in that situation?
Many times is adding on to that objection is, why do you say that? Or where is this coming from? Because we talked about this. And maybe we did talk about it in our conversation, and I indicate we did talk about this. I mean, where is this coming from? Are you sure you're not understanding the offer, or you're not, or what are you really uncomfortable with? You know, getting back into it. That's the whole thing with objections, is understanding the mindset behind it. Like I said, many times it has to deal with fear. Sometimes it has to deal with the person not understanding what you're offering. But many times they think that it's not for them. It's not beneficial. So you got to get back to, why is it? Internally you have to see, what does this benefit? How does this benefit my client or this person that I'm talking to? Whatever it is. You know, it's not about you. It's about, how does this benefit that person? So then you get into the pain of what that person's living through, and this, what we're talking about here, will alleviate this pain.
Absolutely.
That's where we're going. And in general, that's where you want to get to, is what is their pain and how can I help you or help this person with their pain? If you always look at how you can help the person, the objections, whatever they have, are going to lose their strength, because you're helping them to find something that's good for them. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, Joe. That makes sense right there. I know for me, Joe, I know an objection I hear a lot, and one that I've used in situations too, to not open up to take a look, a good full picture of whatever's being presented to me, is I have to think about it. And
yes.
And for me, when I have used it in a situation as an objection, a lot of times it was for one or two reasons. I either needed more information, or I financially made a decision that I was not going to go forward with that. And for me, when I made that decision, hindsight looking back, I know now if I had more information, and I truly believe that when a person has all the information that they need, they can truly become resourceful.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where in order for them to make a powerful decision, you need to overcome that limitation of knowledge.
Yes.
And you need to understand where that limitation is. What's that reason? Why do you say you don't have time, or what does this mean by time? I mean, we're spending, let's say, 20 minutes on this conversation. If we're talking about a coaching call, we're spending 20 minutes, half an hour right now. If you invested 20 minutes, half an hour, once a week to focus on your goals and your dreams and see what you're doing to accomplish them, would that not be helpful or beneficial to you?
Absolutely. And you know what, Joe? One of our guests just put in the comment box, sometimes the objection is bad timing. So what would you say about that, when sometimes the objection is bad timing?
And that might be the case. That might be the case if I've gotten people who say to me, right now is not a good time. I got too many things on my plate. I got too many things going on. And once we start talking about what they have going on, especially in the coaching session, it's more of a, okay, we're isolating where their time is going. And sometimes it gets to the point where, you don't have time, buddy. You have to focus on these things and leave the door open to come back. Let's get back to this coaching and really get to where your goals are and if you're actually achieving them. But at the same time, if you go through that whole process of looking at where their time is being allocated, what they're actually doing with their time, then they start thinking, oh, well, I spend 3 hours Netflix binging every week. Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. I hear you. Sometimes you get to that point where you just want to sit in front of the boob tube and watch Netflix, on your tablet, on your laptop. When you get to the reality of what we do with our time, then things start opening up to say, yeah, there is some time. We can make some time for this, because this is for your future and this is for your benefit. What are your goals? What are you accomplishing? If you do the same Netflix binge for the next year, where are you going to be at?
Exactly.
And instead of that, what if we invest this time in achieving your goals? Now let's look at that. So the conversation about time is always a matter of looking at where their time is actually being spent, and if there's a way we can better capitalize it. Because one of the phrases I like to use with my clients or the people I talk to is, our time is our assets.
Absolutely.
Minutes are assets. Every minute we have in our day is an asset that we have. So let's make the most of it.
And you know what? We have a question out here, Joe, from Renette.
Yeah.
How do we gain their trust so that they will buy from us?
Confidence, right? Confidence in you and who you are. I think that comes with, first off, I think it comes with what we're talking about is being honest from the very beginning. You know, internally, what you want to be projecting to others is, I want to help you. For example, I want to help Michael. I want to help whoever's listening and whoever's talking on the chat or on the blab and listening. Is I want to provide my experience and share it with others. So that comes from internal, and that's something that you can focus on. It's not what can they give me and what could I give you. When you have that, you're going to have trust. You're going to have confidence in yourself, and others will have confidence in you because you're looking for their benefit. So my thought would be, for trust, you have to look for the other person's benefit. You know what the golden rule is, right? Have you heard of the golden rule?
What's the golden rule, Joe?
The golden rule is treat others as you would like to be treated. So if I want to be treated well, and I want to be treated with respect, I'm going to do the same with others. Does that make sense? I'm going to respect that other person. I'm going to respect their time. I'm going to respect their thoughts. But I'm going to be straightforward and straight up with them, just like I would like someone to be straight out with me and tell me, you know, you're Netflix binging. What is that in your life? You know, what are you doing with your life, right? So things like that need to be told, and you need to be real and honest. That's where I think the trust comes out. If you're real and honest with the other person, you're straight up, then you're gonna be providing that trust. Sometimes you're gonna have people that don't really trust you no matter what you do, but you want to always be giving. You always want to be giving, always want to be respectful.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense, Joe.
Does that make sense?
And definitely, Joe, we got from the people I'm looking at who's popping on the chat right now, man. These are some high achievers right here, Joe. And so let's if we can, let's kind of jump into the mindset of what a person, the action a person needs to take when they come across certain situations. Because when it comes to a business, people are definitely looking for what they can do to maximize their time in business. Now, what can they do to close quicker? What can they do to build those relationships that are fundamentally relationships that will be profitable years beyond from the time they were first becoming to inception? And so when it comes to objections, let's take a look. Let's look at time again. The person who is trying to gain that person's confidence, let's go through some examples of time. And what are some of the things you do to actually work that person from being unsure to, you know what, Joe, I am making time. I'm going to clear my schedule because, you know what, they do see the benefit. And I truly believe, Joe, that's a lot of times that's the disconnect, and that's really, I say that's the sweet spot in business when a person could get to a point where they're trying to close a deal with whoever they're doing business with, or in business and family, wherever, and get to that point where they can truly see where that person is at, and meet them at a point where that person comes to them and realize, okay, you know what, Joe, I can trust you. And you know what? I'm looking at my schedule. Yeah. And you know, I am making an excuse. You know, I am doing a Netflix binge for 3 hours a week. But you know what? If I just eliminate, you know what? We don't even want to say eliminate because everybody's not going to make sacrifice. We just say they cut it in half. They go from 3 hours to an hour and a half. But guess what? That hour and a half
there you go.
is productive time now. You know, not in the personal development.
That's right.
So my question for you, Joe, is this: what personal development techniques would you would suggest that a person use so they can help close whatever situation you're in to be more profitable and become a better person.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. It really depends on the person that you're talking to. If they're emotionally inclined, your conversation might be a little different than if someone's a little bit more on the logical side, logical approach. But if you do a logical approach to the conversation, many times people don't want to feel like they're not being logical, they're not being reasonable. So really my first thing with the objection, I don't have time, is I discuss their time and I quantify it. I specify, okay, how much time are you spending for XYZ for your business? I mean, let's write this out. And I actually take a notepad and I write down the time and I say, okay, this is how much you spend. Okay, how much do you spend for marketing? How much do you spend to do this? For example, if they have their own business. Or if they don't, if they're working, I've coached executives. Okay, what's your time look like at work? How much time do you spend at home for things at work? And then we start quantifying the time. And then we start looking at, do they really not have the time? Because then I start looking and I start poking holes in it, because it's so easy to poke holes. But many times with that logical approach, discuss their time, quantify it, actually write it out. And it's a good exercise for them to do the same if they want to see where their time is allocated. I usually put a timeline and I start, what time they get up in the morning and what their day looks like. And this is just quantifying their 24-hour day. And then looking at, do you really not have the time? Sometimes people simply say they don't have the time because they feel rushed. I think you were talking about that. Or they feel stressed, or they don't really understand what's involved. For example, in the case of coaching. So that's the way to do it, is doing a logical approach. Another kind of approach is, this is your problem. You don't have time, and you think you don't have time. And this is the same thing that they do in other areas of their life.
Yes.
So unless they make a powerful decision to overcome this limitation, for example, by signing up for a coaching or taking action that flies in the face of I don't have time, they will live the rest of their life not having time.
And you know what, Joe?
So that's a different approach.
Joe, right? You hit a big point there, Joe. I'm going to tell you one thing I noticed, and if I'm wrong, correct me on this. Mm-hmm. A lot of people who are in sales and who are trying to close the deal, when it comes to them asking the crucial question about a person's schedule, and see, they're scared to do it because they feel like, whoa, if I ask you about your schedule and where your time is at, well, man, I'm getting too personal with you, man, and I'm not going to ask those questions.
Yeah, no, and that's why I said that's being real, and that's being a coach that really helps and that can help them. And you're showing that from the very beginning. Maybe it's a free session you're providing, right? So this first free session, you're telling them, this is my no nonsense approach. You're not going to get rid of me with a story that I don't have time, because that's just your story. That's just the story you're making up. Yeah. So the other approach of that's your problem, you diagnose their entire I don't have time objection as a limitation. That's something that it's important for them to overcome, because sometimes you get to the point where you can tell the client, hey, how many other things in your life or business do you miss out because you don't have time? Then you're getting into the real, and they start becoming a little uncomfortable. But I think that every person begins to realize, if they're going to be a good client for you, they're going to realize that they need to be real with you, and you're being real with them.
Makes total sense. You hit on something important, Joe. One thing for me, I've had a client once where they didn't see for them, they were looking at their schedule, and this particular client wasn't coaching, I was actually consulting them. And what they saw was they didn't have time, and when it came to their home life and to certain things in business, they felt like things just they couldn't bring things together. It was kind of getting hectic for them. And Joe, and for me, what I helped them, what I did to help them overcome that time limitation. Once we talked, I got to the nitty gritty of what they're good at in their business. And I also talked with that where they were not good. And you know what? The things that they were not good at, I had them to delegate that out. So guess what? That was those were a task that they were spending on average anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half per day, 5 days a week. So let's do the math on that. We're looking at almost 7.5 hours a week. Them doing a task that was tedious to them. They were not good at it. And once they made that, Joe, guess what? Once they made that switch, now they had 7.5 hours. Now they were able to put more time into personal development. They were able to spend more time with their kids. And there was a stress that they didn't have. And guess what? Guess what? They became more productive because they were doing something that they weren't doing. They delegated it out. And once they delegated it out, they were actually able to produce their revenue because now the personal development, I teach everyone, you must work on you. No one is going to care about you like you. And if you don't work on you, if you don't become a better person tomorrow than you are today, then you're just truly going on that insanity rat race road. You're just doing the same things over and over and over again, and you're expecting different results. And I like what Renette put over here. She says, adjusting their priorities usually helps them find time. You absolutely, Renette. It's just about helping the person have the mindset, because we all at one point in time, when it comes to money, we have had to become resourceful, either to pay a bill for our kids, whatever. You had to become resourceful. And we had to have we had to have that same mindset with our priorities in business to do the same thing.
Yeah, because we have limited resources, however we look at it. You know, we have limited resources monetarily, we have limited resources in time. And if we look at those as resources, we have to allocate them smartly. And I think that's beautiful what you mentioned to your client there to do that. Because that just shows the value of having these kind of conversations on a regular basis with Michael. If you can do this with just this one call, I got 7.5 hours of production here.
Exactly.
How much more can I get by talking to Michael every week and looking at our priorities? You know, in that case, the real question is, are you willing to make this worth your time?
Exactly.
And that's what you showed him. Yeah, beautiful.
And so let me ask you this, Joe. When it comes to objections, my next question for you is, what questions do you ask when a person is unsure, but when you're trying to find out what's on their mind, what are some of the questions you ask to kind of get to the sweet spot that really help them get to the next level and then kind of get rid of that limitation?
Really, a lot of that starts from the very beginning on what are their goals. Where do they see themselves, you know, next month, next year, in 10 years? What are their goals? Where do they want to be? So once I have that framework, and it's different for everybody. There's a lot of similarities, true, but it's very different for many people. Some people that I've talked to, their whole framework and their whole thought process is, I want to save my marriage. You know, I want to do everything I can to be there for my kids. So their thought process are more family oriented. So everything else is secondary.
Makes absolute sense. Yes.
I've had some people tell me, you know, my whole thought process right now is I want to, you know, double my business. I want to get more clients. I want to have XYZ, everything XYZ, everything related to business. So I can understand where their thought process is once I know their goals. And once I know their goals, I can start leaning into them as to exactly what's behind that goal. Because many times from the very beginning, whatever the story they tell you, whatever they say initially, the client, it's not the real story. So the questions beyond that is, why do you think that way? Please help me understand what got you to this point. What are you really going to get if you achieve it? Let's say you do achieve your goal of, for example, doubling your business. What is that going to give you? Well, I'm going to have confidence. I'm going to have more. Okay, so your problem right now is confidence, not doubling your business. So yeah, once you get into the goals and many times I get to the point every time is, okay, let's say you achieve it. Let's say tomorrow you have achieved this goal. What are the feelings? Why do you have that? Why do you want to achieve it? And then once they tell me their feelings, then I know exactly where to go. So the objection of I don't have time, for example, is, and if we look at the confidence question, you don't have time to better yourself and become more confident in who you are. If you were the most confident person that you can be, how would your business look like?
Absolutely.
Tomorrow, next year, in 10 years? Quantifying it again to their feelings. So that's where I would usually go.
And Joe, so my next question is this. I know this question here would definitely, a lot of people in the audience, viewers definitely would know this question here. Would definitely like to hear the answer to this question here. When you're trying to close a deal with a potential client, and once you ask a few questions, what are some of the things you do to help them get over the fear? I know you mentioned you help go over the goals, but what else do you do along with that to help get them to really get the yes from them and to get them to really see how important it is that they're taking a step forward that's going to benefit them long term?
Yeah, for the objection of I don't have time, really, and whatever other objections they have, really is, if we don't go forward here right now, because this is a conversation between two people, who have goals. You have your goals and I have mine. One of my goals is for you to achieve yours. But if you're not interested in achieving your goals because you don't have time, in quotes, I can't help you.
Joe.
Does that make sense?
you truly hit the sweet spot right there. How crucial it is to line up to whatever their objective, what their goals are, and for them to know that you're there to help them achieve.
Yeah. Your goal is to double your business, but we're actually looking at your real goal is for you to have the confidence in yourself to go out there and get more clients.
And you know what, Joe?
So if that's your goal, I can help you achieve it.
So Joe, I'm gonna use this objection right here because Renette just had a question. She said, what if the objection is they can't afford it? So let's just say, Joe, they have the goals. They have the mindset to want to achieve it, but they can't afford it. How would you handle that objection right there?
Yeah, financial, money. It's always a reason, some of the things I think about, before prepping, before I talk to them about it, is if you think about this, many people say they don't have money, but they always can figure out ways for them to get it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I mean, I've spoken to people who, are living in a 1-bedroom apartment, and they got, that humongous old iPad, and they have these iPhones, and all the kids have iPhones, and all the they have all these services that they're paying. They have money. They make money. They acquire money for what they want. Does that make sense?
So what you said is it's an issue of reallocating the money.
It's definitely an issue we like, and I prepare myself mentally before talking to the client. Sometimes you get to that point and get to those things, but honestly, that's the way I see it, because if you just take them at face value and say I don't have money, honestly, I would say like 90% of the people I talk to, they can always find money.
And can you share, Joe, what are some of the things that people do to find the money?
Yeah, and this is where we talk about if we continue on this path of you not coaching, you're not having your goals, you're not achieving your goals, who's directing your life? Are you on autopilot, or are you actually in the driver's seat? So let's take a look at where you're driving to. I mean, you have yourself the direct TV with 10,000 channels on it, and you're paying $300 a month for your TV, and you don't have $150 for a coaching call that will get to your goals and will achieve your goals. Let's think about this a bit. I mean, I have cell phone services that I've told clients about. I didn't know that you can get a cell phone service. I think there's one called Republic Wireless. You can pay like $25 a month, $30 a month, and it's a real good service. And you get some of the latest phones on there, but that's all you pay, and you pay $25-$30 a month instead of $130 a month.
And
so, if I'm comfortable with the client and they're saying, well, I can't get money, hey, let's look at where you're spending your money. Why don't I coach you a bit on this? Because it seems like because if this is a problem having with your goals and being a better version of you, let me help you. Let's coach on this.
And one of the comments Renette put out here is making an investment in themselves is important. Now, for me, I know that is truly important. For me, my life made a 360-degree turn once I started getting coaching. And my first coach was Bobby Ray Ivory Jr., excellent coach. And you know what's so funny? When it comes to coaching, everyone, a lot of times we get coaching, when we do make that investment, a lot of times we believe what we're going to get coaching for. A lot of times what we want to get coaching for, we actually get coaching on something else that we really didn't think we were looking for coaching in. But that's how the divine factor comes in, and going in a divine flow where we need to go. And for me, when Bobby Ray Ivory Jr. started coaching me, initially it was money. But more it ended up being more about that spiritual alliance. It was more about just making sure my goals and dreams were aligned, and also making sure, because at the time I first got coaching with Bobby Ray Ivory, I was going through some serious health crisis at the time, and so I didn't really think I needed coaching on getting through what I was going through. I just thought that I just need coaching just to make money. But he helped me get over those objections with what I was doing with my health, for me not realizing that if I'm not healthy or have some sense of health and well-being, I'm not going to be able to go out making the money, And absolutely. And he made a comment. He's got a comment here. He said it really comes down to trust. And he says part of the objection is tied to mistrust. And so, Joe, let me ask you a question. Just to kind of piggyback off of Bobby Ray Ivory Jr.'s comment. What's the best way to deal with that mistrust and objection, to handle objections?
To me, it is being real with yourself. Like I'm like your own story, Michael. It's pretty amazing, and it makes you a real life person with all the struggles that you've gone through, and being able to be real with the client with what you've gone through. It just that Absolutely. Trust grows with that. Does that make sense? Because you're a real person and I'm a real person, and I'm not just here to say pull your money away from you. I'm trying to be real. I'm trying to coach you. I'm trying to help you to achieve your goals. And that let's get to there. I've had these struggles and XYZ struggles, and this is what my coaches have helped me, how they've helped me. Because I got to be real with you. I have multiple coaches.
Exactly.
I have several coaches myself.
So if you can, Joe, explain, number one, why you have more than one coach, and also explain why it's beneficial, and then explain how has it affected your overall life and picture.
Well, first off, I mean, I think
yes,
accountability was being mentioned, right? Accountability is very important. I have training and certifications as an accountability coach, but at the same time, for example, for my health, I have a coach that helps me with my health goals. It keeps me on target with those. I have a second coach which helps me with just my regular business goals, my weekly goals. What am I doing with my business? Where am I going? And we have weekly calls just so I can keep on track. And he's on top of me with that accountability. So those two coaches help me in different aspects of my life. I mean, I can have one coach that does it all, but if I have a couple of coaches that help me exactly to overcome those objections, those situations, this is golden for me because I'm a better person because of them. And then at the same time, I can help others to be better at whatever they're trying to be. Yeah. So coaching is important, and it's been important in my life. And I've learned so much because of coaching. I've actually grown so much more. I guess it would be exponentially because of coaching than I have doing things on my own over 10, 15, 20 years.
So what you're saying, Joe, pretty much
as an adult,
the fact that you got several coaches and in certain areas of your life, what you're saying is you're able to achieve 3 times as much in a shorter time frame.
At least. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, because many times if you do things on your own, and I get clients who do that all the time, they say, oh, no, I can get this done. Oh, what you're telling me, yeah, I could do that. Okay, then how come you haven't done it? I'm just as an example, I had a real estate client call me who wants to do real estate investing. And they purchased a property in Texas, somewhere in Dallas. And that was their first property, and they've been spending thousands and thousands of dollars for training for real estate investment. They bought a property, and they still have the property, and they're paying taxes on the property. They haven't sold it. And you know how long they've been doing that? 15 years. Trying to get into real estate investing. And once I tried it, I was talking to them on coaching. Oh yeah, what you're saying, yeah, I could do that. Then why haven't you done it? You've been doing this for 15 years. You spent over $15,000, $20,000 in training, and now you spent money for taxes on this property, and you still haven't.
Like Bobby Wright just says, when he said, "Easy things to do are easy not to do." Yes.
Exactly. Oh yeah, it's easy. I could do it. Yeah, I could do what you're telling me. But then, the next day they're not doing it. In 2-3 days, they're sitting back on their haunches. All right, yeah. I'll go for another training. No, exactly. You don't need training. You need coaching on what you already know. Because really the coach's job is not as a consultant. And I see a lot of people who look at the objections and think, oh, I need to give them the answer. No, you're not a consultant. You're a coach. You want to guide them to get to the goals that they want, and using their resources.
Absolutely.
For yours. Because if you want to use your resources, you're actually looking at being a consultant, which we're not. If you want to be a consultant, that's a different job. And my respect for consultants, that's fine. But I'm a coach.
Absolutely. And even Coach Foreman says, I would think relatedness is key to having trust in a client-coach relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. Relatedness is important, but in a way, I disagree as well. I think at the very beginning, it's very important. I don't know how gender for yourself, if you mostly coach men or women. For some reason, I get a lot of women who call me for coaching, you know, and it's not much of a relatedness there. It's a matter of being someone who can listen and pay attention to what the other person's saying. And I think women really get into, okay, he's really listening to me and really listening not only to my story, but trying to understand me as a person. So relatedness, I think, will help initially. But I think once you get into the nitty gritty and going to the background of the person and saying, okay, what's actually motivating you to do this? And when you ask questions of why, well, why? You know, like, you know how kids are? You say, you know, why is the sky blue? And you say, and you tell them, because of the reflection of the light in the ocean. And then you say, why? Why is that? And they keep the next question, even if you answer it right, the next question for kids is why. So as a coach, I always like to ask why, because I tell them, I don't know you. I'm trying to understand what motivates you. You know?
That was excellent. Yeah, that was an excellent point there. And because definitely, for me, I truly believe for men getting coaching, for us, it's ego. Ego getting away. How much do you know? How much do you know, Joe? Mm-hmm. Do you really know more than me? Are you making more money than me? Are you living in a bigger house than me? And if you're not doing those things right there, I really shouldn't be listening to you. And truly, I think a lot of men will be better husbands, better fathers, better business people, and leave a more powerful legacy as they get rid of ego. Because one thing I was talking about, ego means just you're easing God out. And so when we ease God out, we've gotten rid of the humility, you know, and we believe that we have the answer to what's going on, and we're just moving forward. Like the Bible says, we're moving forward, but we're not getting the wise counsel that we need. Now, I truly believe we have to get wise counsel around us. You know, like Bobby I say, humility is a must. Mm-hmm. You know, in order for us to be who we need to be, we have to look at who ourselves, realize, you know what? I am who I am, but I could be so much better once I have a mindset to say, you know what? Yeah, I'm going after greatness. I'm going to align myself with people who are great. And when I align myself with them, I'm not talking. I'm going to listen. God gave me 2 ears. I'm going to gather this information in, and I'm going to let it process. I'm going to let it marinate, and I'm not going to make any self-imposed excuses to myself on why I shouldn't listen to it.
Yeah, and you know what? You just said something right now, Michael, that got me thinking. One of the things I've told my clients is we were created with 2 ears and 1 mouth. What does that tell you? That you got to listen more than speak.
It's supposed to be a 2-to-1 factor. Listen twice as much as you talk.
That's it. That's it. Otherwise, hey, you're going against nature if you don't do it that way, buddy.
Yeah. And Renee says here, overcoming and eliminating distractions is difficult. Sometimes we don't even identify our own distractions. Yeah. So my question from that out of her comment there, Joe, what are some of the things you do to help your clients overcome and eliminate the distractions that they have when they come with those? When you see those objections right there.
Yeah, many times I think this ties in beautifully with the accountability, because if we do, especially as coaches, I do coaching as accountability as well as a strategy coach, but many times if you have your accountability in line, set in place. What are you going to be doing today? Sometimes I even have to have the client email me or text me. Yeah, I did this. These are my 4 or 5 goals for the week. Okay, text me when you're done with each one. You need to let me know before Friday. So if you do that, their distractions are not there. It's like Friday comes around and they're not texting me. I'm either sending them an email or texting them on Saturday or the next time that we actually have the coaching call and say, what happened? And once you get on their case, those distractions become a little more easy for them to manage, especially with accountability. Text me, email me, give me a response. By when can you have this done? Throw it in their court. When can you have this done? Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I can have it done by our next coaching call. Okay, then. Okay, give me updates. When can you give me updates? All right. Give me update in 2 days, 4 days, 5 days. Okay. And then I'll write them down, and I have them write it down and say, this is it. This is how we're going to be doing this. Because once you have that accountability, those distractions become easier to eliminate, overcome.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because yeah, you're going to have distractions and your things, but I need this done. You need to turn this in. And then I congratulate them. I give them their happy dance. Let's do this. You did it. Let's do it. You did it. Excellent. Beautiful. Yeah. Get up and dance. And little things like that help us all move forward.
Oh, it makes total sense.
Does that make sense? Because in our lives, we don't have that kind of support mechanism from our family and friends. A lot of times people around us are so negative that they're always looking for, oh, you did this wrong. You did this wrong. Or did you hear what he did? And, no. If you, as a coach, if you can provide that positive feedback and honest positive feedback, I mean, they're just going to love it. Their distractions are going to be nothing.
That's powerful right there, Joe. That's absolutely powerful. And
yeah, I was going to mention something, Michael, too, because this reminds me. You mentioned something about the spiritual inclination, right? A spiritual person that we are. As a strategy coach, basically, I have these 5 things I keep in mind for coaching. We all have basic needs. One of the basic needs that we have is certainty. To be sure of our position, be sure of our, of our income, be sure of our family, our spouse, whatever. Yes. We need certainty in our life. The other basic need we also have is to have significance. What we do is significant for us, for our family, for our neighbors, for our community. Having that significance is important. The other one that I also look at and examine is that people need to have variety, different, something different. That's why you don't eat, steak every day. Even though you like steak,
yes.
you want to have variety. You do that when you eat. And lastly, we all want to have love and connection.
Absolutely.
As a need. We need to have that love and connection. These are 4, but the 5th one that I also talk about and I also keep in mind is that we also have a spiritual inclination. Yes. To a different level. Some people are religious, some people are not, some people are agnostic, but they have that internal need that pushes them, that drives them to satisfy their needs spiritually. So I keep those 5, basic needs in mind whenever I coach. Just something to throw out there.
So Joe, when it comes to those distractions, so you're coaching someone and they're having distractions, they're trying to get to the next level. And so what are some of the things you do to help them uncover those things to get to the next level?
Yeah. That goes in with the story, I think. With the story that they've been telling themselves. It ties along with, I don't have time, I don't have money. It all ties along with the story of, I don't have. And when I talk to my clients and I say, okay, you say you don't have, what do you have? What are you grateful for? What is in your life? What more do you want now? You got to be grateful for what you have. And now let's look at what more do we want? Because if you say, I don't have, you're going to always be stepping back. You're not going to be stepping forward. So this is part of your problem, that you're always stepping back and saying, I don't have. Say, I do have, and be grateful for what you do have. And this is what I do want. So what do I have to do? I think one of the comments here was saying, we find a way. You know, if this is what I want, then we find a way. I mean, if you want to have a car, just something very basic in the industrialized world is to have a car, or in the US. If you want to have a car, what are you going to do? Are you just going to sit there and say, I want it? No, you're gonna start saving money, or you're gonna work on your credit so you can get the car. so they'll let you take it out of the parking lot, right? But you work toward it. You find a way. You will find a way. And if you don't find a way, you're just gonna sit there and saying, I want it. Or you're gonna find reasons why I can't have it. I don't have money. Okay, fine. What are you gonna do to get money to get your car? Because if that's what you want it for, So, yeah, it's usually reasoning with people with something simple like that, and just saying, this is what you need to, this is what you want to do. What would you do?
Absolutely, to get it? Man, that is great right there, Joe. Because definitely, man, I definitely feel you on that, because when it comes to achieving our goals and dreams, I truly believe one of the biggest mistakes people make, and the mindset that they need, is one thing I've been sharing lately to myself, and definitely sharing with a few friends, is that you need to be married to your dream. Be married to your dream. Be totally committed to it.
Yeah.
But see, this is the kicker here, Joe.
Yeah.
The kicker is be willing to date many strategies to keep it alive.
Yeah. That's right. That's totally true. And it's not just one thing. You have to help. You got to do multiple things, One of the things that, for example, I have my morning rituals. I think we all have morning rituals. It's just some people think about them more than others. But part of my morning rituals is being grateful for what I have every morning. Grateful for where I am, what I've learned, and grateful that I can offer others a sliver of knowledge, a sliver of advice, a sliver of wisdom if necessary, and be grateful for what I do have. With that kind of attitude, that helps you to overcome any obstacles.
Exactly.
Because you say, okay, this is what I'm grateful for. This is what I need to do, because this is what I want to do for myself, for my family, and, for my creator, whatever's pushing you. You said, this is what I want to do. This is what I need to do. I'm grateful for this. This is where I want to go. All right, let's get it done. I think one of the points that was mentioned on the chat as well is humility is a must, right? In the case of humility, it is a must. And here's why. If you get stuck on thinking, I need to know more than my client, or I need to know more than this person is, if you feel like, okay, I don't have enough information to give them, humility might be bad. But you have to always be in a place where I want to help. I want to respect this person. I want to help this person. Yes. And if you're too humble, you might think, okay, I don't want to hurt them. Does that make sense? I don't want to offend them. And sometimes you do have to step on people's toes to get their attention. Especially in a conversation where you're mostly on the phone, Sometimes you do have to step on their toes and be a little out there. But that's once you have that relationship, But humility is to consider yourself, not to consider yourself greater than the other person, but here's an analogy. I was thinking about a lake that I go to. There's a lake nearby here. It's called Utah Lake. If I found a person who's drowning there, maybe they're an Olympic athlete, right? And they might be an Olympic swimmer, but they had a leg cramp. They ate too much, and they're drowning there. I'm not a good swimmer. I can hold my own, but nothing compared to with that Olympic champion. Exactly. But if he's drowning there, I'm going to jump in and help him.
Absolutely.
That's humility. I'm not comparing myself with them. I want to help them.
Exactly. Right? And Bobby Ray says humility is not the absence of confidence. You know what you know.
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 And real quick, right. Joe, my question to you, Joe, is this: when it comes, I'm gonna say in the last few months, I've become a true believer of, and one thing I've looked at are the high achievers, the billionaires and the high achievers. And you mentioned your morning routine, so your ritual. So if you could share, what is your exact ritual? The time you get up, what do you do to start your day?
I have my, honestly, I tried to start at 4:30 in the morning. I tried that for a few days. I couldn't hack it. Being honest, I couldn't hack it. So I'm getting up at 5 to 5:10. Okay. That's my morning. So once I get up, it's that instant being grateful for life, being grateful for everything that I have in my life. And at that point, I start my routine of, I have my exercise, or I have my Spring Forest Qigong meditation. Spend about a half an hour to an hour on that. But one of the things in my morning ritual that I like to have as a coach and as a person is I basically say to myself out, I am a powerful man. I am a powerful husband. I am a powerful coach. Be powerful.
Yes.
So that gets me going to my next step. Okay. As a powerful man, I'm not going to slack off on my of my routine of exercises here in the backyard. I'm not going to slack off of my meditation because I am a powerful man.
Exactly.
And that all those pieces from 5 till about 7 help me get ready for the whole day. And I'm ready for the day, So that's basically my morning, pretty much every day, to get ready for the day.
Well, you know what, Joe? If you can share some closing thoughts on what you could share on what we've talked about when it comes to overcoming objections. If you can share that and how anyone who's listening could get in contact with you, that'd be great.
Yeah. The point with objections is really, I think as a nutshell, I think we've talked about it, is they're not, the person who's bringing out those objections does not have a clear understanding of what you're offering. You've lost them in your conversation. So you want to alleviate those fears. First. Second, besides alleviating the fears, you also want to help the client or the person that you're talking to know that this is important for them. This is something that is useful to them. It's not something that you're asking them to give you. You're offering yourself to help them. So the second point is always getting the person to realize that these objections are not useful or beneficial for their goal settings. So those would be the two primary points I would think with any kind of objections, to overcome them. And really, I post a few things up on my Facebook page. I have a Facebook page, CervantesCoaching.com, or Cervantes Coaching. Yeah. I also have my website is coachingawesomeness.com. and I post on those on different things on mindsets and getting ahead in life and getting ahead in your business. Yeah. That's how you can probably reach me there. Cervantes Coaching is probably the best way on Facebook.
That is absolutely great, Joe. So, and Joe, definitely, Joe, I want to thank you, Joe, because when it comes, I truly believe tonight you gave everyone a lot of nuggets to just go away and really reevaluate what they're doing, how they're doing, how to have the right mindset, and just how important it is to be relatable, just how important it is to really look at the needs of what a person is going through. And truly, I want to thank you so much. You really shared some things, opened my eyes up, and definitely, man, we had the conversation flowing on the side of the chat, man. It was constantly going with questions and excellent comments from the great people who are listening in right now. So, Joe, I truly want to thank you so much, man, for coming on again, Joe. It's been truly a pleasure, and I thank you, Joe, because every time you come on here, Joe, you truly rock, and you really share information that a person could take right away and make some significant changes in their life. And I'm sure it's some, yes. And Joe, I'm for sure it's some people, if they didn't believe in coaching, and they didn't believe in coaching, they believe in it now. And also, if they were looking at how to handle and overcome objections, I believe they got a footprint to just put their foot into and really move forward. So, man, I thank you so much for that, Joe. It's a pleasure having you on, man. I'm definitely looking forward to having you on again, Joe, and definitely moving forward, because this is definitely a growing experience here, Joe. So I truly want to thank you, man, for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, I truly want to thank each and every one of you, because truly, you could be doing anything on a Tuesday night. But guess what? You decide to come on the Michael Muse Show with Joe Cervantes, talking about overcoming objections. I want to thank you, because without you, there is no me. And you know what? You are here with the fearless coach, the author, Rise and Burn. You know what? Overcoming your fears is not an option. So I truly want to thank each and every one of you, and you guys have a great day.